Walking into a cafe, do you look at the menu or look at the pricing, and does that dictate whether you're going to eat there or drink there? Would you want to order a coffee out every day? When you go to a cafe, do you look at the price of the coffee or the menu pricing? Is that dictating where you're going to? Would you pay, I don't know, $6, $7 for a long black? Does the price of a cup of coffee even matter anymore? Today I'm on the streets talking to the public about what is a cup of coffee worth to them. How do they choose the cafes based on price? Do they even look at the menu, and does it impact how many cups of coffee they're drinking these days? So stick around if you want to learn what the public are really thinking about the price of a cup of coffee. So you've ordered a flat white.
Yep.
Do you look at the price of a cup of coffee these days?
Well, I know coffee beans are expensive. They've gone up in price.
Yeah.
So obviously, importing it, obviously we've got to pay for that. So that's the way it is. Coffee is a commodity that is hugely popular.
It is.
Obviously the price is going to be variable. I believe we grow coffee beans in Australia, but probably not enough.
Walking into a cafe, do you look at the menu or look at the pricing, and does that dictate whether you're going to eat there or drink there?
No. I usually go to different cafes to try different coffees, so I'm not really worried about the price.
Cool. All right, so if you walk into a cool coffee shop like that, do you look at the price on the menu of a cup of coffee? Do you go, I'm going to order a latte and I'm going to look at the price?
No.
No? What was the last price of coffee you remember paying?
$5? Yeah.
Do you think? Something like that? Yeah, it will be.
Long black, $5.
Yeah. When you walk into a cafe, do you look at the price of the cup of coffee? No. So you're drinking a Guatemalan single origin long black. Did you know that? Do you notice the difference between buying a long black and getting it on the blend of a single origin? Do you actively look for cafes that have certain coffees? You would just order a long black straight off the menu?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you notice the difference if you just go somewhere random and order a long black and it's just boring?
Yeah, you can definitely like the blandness of some of them.
Cool. How should cafes feel about putting their prices up?
Well, I think they probably feel, oh God, that's the way it is, but they can't. It's something totally out of their control. But if they educate people, saying, look, this is where our beans are from. This is why it's so expensive because of tariffs or whatever. I don't think it's because there's not enough product. I think it's just it's a really hard product to produce.
Yeah. You go to a cafe, do you look at the price of the coffee or the menu pricing? Is that dictating where you're going to?
Well, no, but it's certainly, there are places that I've been to that I've looked at the food and I go, no, I won't be eating here.
How do you feel about a $5 long black?
Fine.
Do you care?
Well, I mostly drink coffee at home, so when I'm out, I don't really care.
Sure. How many coffees a day do you drink?
Generally just one.
Yeah? At home or out?
Just have one at home.
Yeah. What do you drink? What's the standard order for you?
Just the regular flat white.
Yeah? What's it worth at the moment? Do you remember?
If I get it in a mug, probably about $6.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Would you pay $8 for it? And what would influence, if the price of a cup of coffee goes up, you as a coffee drinker, does that change your opinion on where you drink coffee or
definitely.
How much you pay?
It would definitely come down to the quality for sure. Taste. Yeah. Supporting local business. So if it's a mate, I'll probably rather go spend $8 at his cafe than go somewhere else.
Yeah. Whether we look at more Australian product, but that's still very young. That industry is very Australian grape is very young. So that's a while to consider. But I think it's education of the public. You want our coffee, this is the reason why. But I don't think they understand that cost factor. Whatever that cup of coffee produces, you've got outlays, rent, staff, all that sort of stuff. So they'd be flat out trying to make 50 cents or $1 a cup of coffee profit. Back in the day, it was huge, big margins in a cup of coffee. But, Yeah, that sort of thing. But I think it's education.
Yeah, cool.
Really.
It's good advice.
Yeah.
Would you want to order a coffee out every day?
I used to, but I prefer not to spend the money on it now.
Yeah, that's changed in the last few years, you reckon? Yeah, okay. And that's what we're kind of trying to work out is where that line is. So there's a lot of conversation around $8 coffees, $12 coffees, which we don't believe there's ever going to be a $12 coffee, not in the next few years at least. Would you pay, I don't know, $6, $7 for a long black?
7 would be pushing it.
Yeah.
A small long black. 7
Yeah.
would be pushing it.
So being educated is obviously taking the edge off.
Absolutely.
Yeah. How would
it's
you?
going to be marketed, because the average punter will look at it and go, "Oh shit."
Sure.
$12
Cost of
for a
goods.
cup of coffee.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably 20. That's probably
I mean, it's a lot. $12 is a big
months
jump.
down the track.
But say we're paying $5 for a small coffee now, we're looking at $7 down the line.
It's going to hurt the small. That's why I say you've got to have a good blend, you've got to have a good barista, and that's where the good baristas are going to come into their own to be able to make it and be able to say, well, that's a good coffee.
Sure.
It gets passed on. But if you're just making coffee by someone who walks in, they have another job, and they've been told they've got to make a coffee, forget it. No one will buy it.
Sure. Do you buy beans for home?
Yeah, I'm gonna get cheap beans.
Buy cheap beans? Yeah. Where do you buy coffee from? You won't offend me. It's fine.
From the supermarket.
Yeah.
And then if we're feeling fancy, every now and then we'll get them from a coffee shop or something.
Yeah.
But mostly I just get them from the supermarket.
Yeah. How do you choose a bag of coffee off the shelf? Like, what are you looking for? Yeah, what's just price-wise once you go to there?
Something that is on special, so it's like better but for cheaper.
Yeah. Do you notice the difference of how good you can make coffee at home versus a cafe? Like, how wide's the gap between the way that you can make a coffee and a cafe can make a coffee?
I reckon it's because you know what you're getting.
Yeah.
Once you've opened the bag at home,
Where,
you know
at
what
home?
you're getting.
Yeah.
You know it's not going to be that good because you're making it and it's that coffee, or because it's just...
I like my coffee at home. And
Sure.
Like, I'm used to it.
Yeah.
So I find that when we've been travelling and we're drinking coffee out every day, like, I've been used to that. Or when we used to buy coffee every day, I've been used to that particular cafe. But now, a lot of the time, I prefer coffee at home than out. Like, I would rather have it at home. If I'm meeting someone, like, often I'll still have it at home.
Yeah.
And I won't get one out because I don't want to be disappointed.
Sure.
If I don't know the cafe.
Are you buying coffee for home? Yeah, but you're buying coffee out and about, like, are you supermarket coffee? Do you buy from roasteries?
What I do, I get my pods sent to me. I like a robust pod. I try out different ones.
Yeah.
Okay. It's just a matter of really, when we go out at home coffee, great. I know because I'm making it.
Yeah.
Then I go out. I know I'm here waiting for my.
So you enjoy your home coffee more than most cafes? Like consistency?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Because I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you buy coffee like beans
Yeah.
for home and stuff?
Yeah.
Are you looking for something cheap, quality?
Quality.
Yeah.
Quality. Yeah.
Buying from cafes or roasteries or supermarkets?
Usually cafes.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you know which beans to pick?
Just based on my wife's opinion.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So will you keep buying coffees out if they're $7 or $8?
No, we probably would if you wanted a coffee.
Yeah, if I really
You wanted
desired
a
a
coffee?
coffee,
Yeah.
But I mean, my coffee machine works perfectly.
You've got a machine at home, you've got beans
Yeah.
at home. You're buying beans from supermarket or roasteries?
No, from roast. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Do you notice the difference? Have you tried both?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay. Good.
I can
I
notice.
know there's difference.
Yeah,
just
dude,
whether,
I was going to say, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the cheaper shit, if you're going to buy cheap, if you're going to buy anything cheap, you're going to get what you buy.
There's definitely a lot more people drinking at least their first coffee at home. And I reckon that's where the cafes have lost. It's just that 2 coffees a day drinkers, it's hard to justify. Hard to spend $10 a day,
Yeah. And
$70 a week.
we used to, when we lived in Kingscliff, we used to drink coffee out every day. And it was 3 coffees for $10. But now it's like, or Nalu's Babychino and 2 coffees for $10. Like, it's not that anymore. It's way more than that. So it's kind of hard to justify.
All right. Well, I'm going to let you eat your breakfast. Thank you for your time. I appreciate your time.
That's all right.
Thank you,
That's
Jimmy,
Okay. I
by
like
the way.
talking to people about the industry. 'Cause I
Yeah,
love
it's good.
it.
Yeah. All right, well, very helpful. Thank you. That's all my questions for you today.
Oh, gosh.
It's good advice.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you
It is.
very much.
All right, I'll leave you to it. Enjoy the rest of your
John
coffee.
McKenzie, my
John?
name.
Jimmy.
John. Pleased to meet
Lovely to
you.
meet you, John.
Yeah.
Any other questions that you want, Ryan? All right, well, there you have it. That was really interesting, talking about pricing with all of these customers, learning what they look for in a cafe as far as the price of a cup of coffee, what it's worth to them. Now, I'll give you a little bit of background. I started my first job in a cafe 2003. That was a long time ago. Basically, you could have paid $3 for a cup of coffee back then. The inflation rate's been at 2.7, so that's $3 cup of coffee should today cost you $5.27. That's just inflation. That's not the product getting better or anything. So some cafes are already missing out on just the cost of inflation. So I think being mindful of the timeline, but also the way that people drink coffee has changed. The way that people are thinking about the choices of where they'll go. But I think it's really about, can they make a coffee at home these days versus going to a cafe? Back in 2003, everyone's just drinking instant. So cafes were that much better. These days, most people have at least a pour over. Maybe they've got a good espresso machine. Even a pod machine satisfies so much of the market now. So we definitely think that people are drinking a lot more coffee than they ever have at home. You can thank COVID for that. But we want to make sure that when they do drink that second coffee of the day or the third coffee of the day, they're coming to your cafe, and we want them to be attracted to your cafe, and you want to get a good experience in your cafe. And I think one of the things I definitely learned from these discussions was that people are pretty happy with their coffee at home. The difference between what they make at home isn't miles away from what they get in a cafe. Now, that's not to say that your cafe coffees aren't way better than their home coffees. They just know what they're getting when they make it at home. They know it's not great, but it's fine. They're more worried about going to a cafe, spending $5-6 on a small flat white, and it not being very good. So that brings me to the biggest point of what is the big thing across all of these people. They all want the coffee to taste good. It needs to be a good product. It needs to be worth the money they're spending. They're parting with that money, and they want to make sure they walk away with a great experience. And I was surprised, no one's looking at the menu. No one's looking at the prices. Everyone walks up to order their daily latte. They're not going up to a cafe and going, oh, it's $6 here. I'm not going to go here. What they're doing is they're going in, they're getting that experience, then they're really maybe measuring that $6 against the experience they got as far as the interaction with staff, the ordering process, and really how good that coffee is, because they walk away with that $6 cup in their hand and they want to be drinking it feeling satisfied that they got their money's worth. So don't be so concerned about putting your price up. The only reason that you really should be concerned about putting your coffee price up is if you don't feel like the coffee is good enough for that price point. So I think if you're a cafe owner, if you're a barista, I'd be looking at your cafe and looking at the price that you're charging, the quality that's going out the door. Does it taste good? Is it consistent every day? And is the customer experience worth the new price that they're going into with the market changing so much at the moment? So my advice, pay attention to the experience, pay attention to the quality and the experience, and to make sure that they're really walking away with the best cup of coffee that you can possibly give them for that price. And the other thing is, take their money when it comes to the retail. They're going maybe to a supermarket, but actually the people that I talked to, a lot of them are buying from cafes. They didn't say roasteries. They're not buying from our website, which you can do if you want to buy a bag of coffee, you buy from rtc.com.au, but they're going to cafes. They're drinking a coffee, they're really enjoying that experience, and they're grabbing a bag on the way out. It might be a treat, it might not be every week, but take their money and get that opportunity. So if you don't sell retail, you definitely need to be selling your kilo bags that you're using through your machine. Put them on the shelf, put a kilo price on them, and have a retail price on there as well so that you can sell those kilos. But well packaged, well presented retail coffee could be the reason that you're actually making money from that first coffee of the day, and then they'll have that brand recognition and they really will come back to you again and drink that coffee in your cafe. So I highly recommend doing more retail in cafes to capitalize on what you're seeing as a loss in cups of coffee. You can capitalize on just selling a bag of coffee over the counter, no machine required. So a lot of the time, no grinding. So you can definitely make your money back there, and it helps grow the brand, helps get the recognition as well. So all in all, I think everyone can be confident in their price if they're confident in their product. If this is something I can help you with, if you're a cafe owner in Australia, reach out to Artisti. You can DM us, shoot us an email. There's forms on the website. There's even a booking calendar to book some time for a call with me, just so I can talk you through how we could support you in the cafe and how you can mitigate some of the price challenges Australia's having in coffee at the moment. So reach out for sure. We're happy to help, but the community helps as well. So if you've got questions, put in the comments below. If there's anything you want to add to this video and your public feedback, we'd love to hear it. Put in the comments as well. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon and the like button. I'll see you next time. Cheers. Bye.